All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're looking at the life and career of Kamala Harris.
Definitely a fascinating figure.
You know, so many listeners have been asking to go beyond the headlines.
Yeah, get a deeper understanding of her journey.
So we dug into this in-depth biography, covers her whole career from her early days as a prosecutor.
All the way to the vice presidency.
And honestly, it's pretty incredible the number of glass ceilings she's shattered along the way.
No doubt about that. Her story intersects with so many key moments in American history, you know?
Exactly. I mean, just picture this. Daughter of Indian and Jamaican immigrants.
Wow.
Raised in Berkeley right in the middle of the civil rights movement.
A truly unique mix of cultures and experiences.
This bio really emphasizes how all of that shaped her worldview.
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
And then there's Howard University.
Oh, absolutely.
Prestigious HBCU.
For sure.
Known for, its academic rigor and its role in shaping Black thought leaders.
Definitely.
She double majored there, political science and economics.
Yeah.
Really laid the groundwork.
For a career focused on policy and justice.
Exactly.
She didn't stop there, though. After law school, she really dove headfirst into criminal justice.
Hands-on experience.
Right, starting as a deputy district attorney.
Tough job.
She tackled gang violence, drug trafficking, sexual abuse, front lines,
You can definitely see how those experiences would shape her leadership style.
Yeah, and it wasn't too long before she became the district attorney of San Francisco.
Historic.
A huge first, right.
First woman AD person of color to hold that position.
And she just dove right in, tackling all these issues head on.
But of course, there were challenges.
Always are.
This biography really delves into how she tried to balance calls for reform with the need to ensure public safety.
Tough balance.
She faced criticism from both sides, it seemed.
Oh, definitely.
Navigating those competing interests that became a theme throughout her whole career.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, no matter what she did, it seemed like someone always thought,
she wasn't doing enough.
we're doing too much.
It's a testament to the complexity of the issues she was dealing with.
For sure.
And that really polarized political climate.
Makes sense. Which brings us to another pivotal moment. California Attorney General.
Another historic first.
I know, right?
It's incredible.
So much happened during this time. I mean, she defended the Affordable Care Act.
A big deal at the time.
Huge, expanding health insurance coverage to so many Americans.
And then those homeowner settlements.
After the foreclosure crisis.
Helping people who'd lost their homes due to, predatory lending.
Talk about making a real impact.
Absolutely, you can see how all of this would set the stage for her move to the national scene.
Exactly, U.S. Senate. And then that 2020 presidential run.
Memorable.
Okay, let's talk about that Senate run. She won in 2016.
Representing California.
After serving as Attorney General.
Quite a quick rise.
Right, and she didn't waste any time making her presence known in Washington.
No, she didn't.
Remember those committee hearings? Grilling Brett Kavanaugh?
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Sessions?
Her questioning was sharp.
Intense.
Laser focus.
Holding those powerful figures accountable.
Definitely solidified her image as a force to be reckoned with.
She was not there to mess around, and beyond that, she was really pushing for things like immigration reform,
right,
climate change, healthcare, issues that, our listeners really care about.
She was tackling some of the biggest issues facing the country.
With that signature determination.
Exactly. And that brings us to 2020, the presidential campaign.
So much hype, so much expectation.
Everyone was watching.
And she had that strong start, and then that incredible moment.
When she challenged Joe Biden on
mega debate.
Took guts.
On such a big stage.
Showed she wasn't afraid to stand up to anyone, even someone in her own party.
Now, ultimately, she suspended her campaign.
Right.
But even in that moment, it felt like something bigger was coming.
It did.
Because even though she didn't win the nomination, she went on to become
the first female, Black, and South Asian vice president of the United States.
Shattering those glass ceilings.
A truly historic moment.
But the vice presidency comes with its own unique set of challenges, right?
Definitely. It's not just about making history.
It's about governing, dealing with some incredibly complex issues.
Absolutely. And she was right in the thick of it. COVID-19 relief, voting rights,
immigration reform.
So many tough challenges.
This biography really goes deep on that migrant crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border.
A defining issue.
So sensitive, politically charged.
Every decision, every statement, scrutinized.
It really felt like a no-win situation.
How so?
Like, take a tough stance.
And you're heartless.
Advocate for compassion.
And you're weak on border security.
Exactly.
It illustrates the challenges leaders face, especially with those emotional issues.
For sure, but then there's also voting rights legislation.
A core part of the Democratic platform.
Progress has been slow, though.
It shows the difficulties of working with a divided Congress.
And a really polarized electorate.
It's easy to forget, behind those headlines, there are human beings. This bio does touch on some of the reported internal challenges.
Oh yeah, the staff turnover.
Questions about her leadership style.
It's a good reminder that even at the highest levels, there are personalities.
Dynamics,
That
relationships.
shape how things get done.
Or don't.
Yes.
Exactly. It's amazing when you think about it.
What's that?
The sheer breadth of her career. Kamala Harris.
It is pretty remarkable.
Like she's mastered this whole world of politics.
From local district attorney.
All the way to the national stage.
And all those firsts along the way.
Oh, yeah.
First woman, person of color, San Francisco district attorney.
And then California Attorney General.
Not to mention.
The first female in South Asian.
Vice President of the United States.
It's a powerful thing.
Especially for younger generations.
What? Sure.
Young women of color. To see someone who looks like them in such a high office.
Representation matters.
Definitely. Her story shows just what's possible.
With a lot of hard work.
And determination.
And that willingness to break barriers.
Yeah, but this biography doesn't shy away from the criticisms either.
Right. It points out how those criticisms came from both sides.
Like during her time as district attorney.
Some said she wasn't progressive enough on criminal justice reform.
Others felt she was too lenient on crime.
Exactly.
Always caught in the middle.
Trying to find that balance.
No matter what she did, someone was going to push back.
Highlights the pressure on leaders.
Especially with those sensitive political issues.
Like the migrant crisis we discussed.
Oh, absolutely. No easy answers there.
Every decision debated endlessly.
It was a tough spot to be in.
It really was.
Take a hard line, you're inhumane, advocate for compassion, you're weak on border security.
It's true, it's a tightrope walk.
But leadership often means making tough, even unpopular choices.
Definitely. But let's shift gears for a second. Think about legacy.
Okay.
We talked about her becoming vice president.
Yeah.
Historically significant. But beyond that...
How will she be remembered?
That's the question, isn't it?
Oh. It's early, but I think her legacy will be multifaceted.
I agree.
First, the representation factor. He's broken so many barriers. Her place in history is secure.
No doubt about it, not just for women of color.
For all women.
Exactly.
Aspiring to positions of power.
A powerful statement about what's possible no matter your background.
Yeah, she's a role model for anyone who's been told you can't.
Because of their gender, race, background.
And beyond that, I think she'll be remembered for her grasp of policy.
Oh, definitely.
Her focus on the issues.
She's not just a figurehead.
She's a skilled lawyer, a policy wonk.
Gets into the details.
It's something that gets lost in the media sometimes.
The focus on personality, the historic firsts.
There's a sharp legal mind there.
And a deep understanding of how government works.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What do we want them to understand about Kamala Harris?
I think the main thing is she's complex.
Not easily categorized.
She's a trailblazer.
A brilliant policy mind.
A tough negotiator.
And for many.
A symbol of hope and progress.
But also a human being.
Navigating this complex world of leadership.
In a divided political environment.
It's a fascinating mix.
It's true. Her story isn't just a straight line of triumphs.
There are setbacks.
Success.
The history-making moments.
And ongoing challenges.
It makes her story so captivating.
And it's far from over.
Whether she runs in 2024.
Or continues to serve in the Biden administration.
She's a force to be reckoned with in American politics.
Before we wrap up, though,
yes,
we wanted to leave you with one last thought to ponder. We've talked about her past, her present, but what about her impact on the future of American politics? What kind of lasting changes could someone with her background set in motion?
That's the big question, right? A question historians will be debating for years to come, but...
It's exciting to think about.
It really is. I think what I find most fascinating is how might her approach to leadership, shaped by her diverse background, influence American politics moving forward.
So all those different threads, her upbringing as the child of immigrants, Howard University, her career as a prosecutor.
Exactly. All of those threads come together to create a perspective that's really unique.
So will we see more inclusive policies? What about her focus on criminal justice reform? Will that lead to meaningful change? Will her presence inspire a new generation of leaders from diverse backgrounds?
it's possible she's like this crossroads in American politics, you
Yeah.
know, a blend of the old and the new,
Definitely.
the establishment and the forces pushing for change.
It's going to be really interesting to see how it all unfolds.
It will, and it reminds us that leadership is always evolving, right?
It has to.
And as the demographics of our country change, so too will the faces and voices of leadership.
That's a good point. So why does all of this matter to our listeners? Why should they care?
Well, I think it means paying attention, watching how she navigates these challenges, what kind of legacy she builds, and considering how her unique perspective might shape the future of our nation.
It's a story that's still being written.
And we're all watching it unfold.
And maybe even more importantly, it means being engaged yourself, making your voice heard, advocating for the issues you care about.
Exactly. Being a part of shaping the future you want to see.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the life and career of Kamala Harris.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking, maybe even a little inspiring.
Definitely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.